Everyone has different feelings on filling out forms and surveys. Some of us love getting to share our opinions, and others find the task tedious. Regardless of how you feel about it, it's still a helpful tool while trying to collect and organize data. There are countless websites out there that generate questionnaires, quizzes, and surveys, but Google has a very easy-to-use application built right into your Gmail account. In the same place where you create Google Documents, slides, and spreadsheets, you can also make customized forms that are easily distributed to other Gmail users or anonymous respondents. We want to show you how to create a Google form, the options available, and then have you fill out some responses on what you'd like to see covered on this Quick Tech by TM tutorial website. You will also find some additional information about Google Forms if you are up to exploring further and using this tool in your teaching. You can easily launch from your Gmail account if you are logged in, or if you go right on the Google page, and as long as you're logged into a Gmail account, you can use the app launcher or the 9 boxes to go right where you need to go. So you want to click on Drive, just like I stated. It's the same place where you create Google Docs or spreadsheets. And you would click on New, go down to More, and click on Google Forms. I'm going to open one that I just started, so it doesn't take too long to walk you through all these questions. But our goal today is for you to understand exactly how it is to set this up in the most basic form. Below you will find different links and tutorials on how to advance what you know about Google Forms. But this is just your very basic options when it comes to asking questions and prompting for answers. The first thing I did here at the top was create the name of my survey. We're calling it Quick Tech by TM Survey. Just like in your Google Docs, you're going to see the same title right up on top. You can rename it at any time. And one of the benefits of using Google apps is that they save automatically. You don't have to save anywhere. It saves as soon as you make any changes. A few more things I want to show here at the top is if you are signed in using a Dare County web address or Currituck one, you may have the option up here to ask people to be logged in and to collect answers using their school email address. Since this is just a Gmail account that we're using to create this form, there's a little bit of a difference. We can't require people to use their login from school. We can, though, only allow one response per person. This is really important if you're collecting information from students, so they can only submit one time. You can also shuffle question order, so if you don't want 2 students sitting next to each other to see what number 1 is, this would be a good option too. This is the first question that I added, and as you can see, it prompts me right away to ask a question title. So I'm going to say, in which school district do you teach? Here you can explain a little bit further, but this is a pretty simple one. It's a multiple choice option. So I clicked on multiple choice. I've put Currituck County, Dare County, and let's say I accidentally added option number 3. Well, I can just click this little X, and it will go ahead and delete just that box. I've also included an other option because I would like, in case somebody comes from another county, we would like to be able to record their answers as well. So we have 3 options here. I'm going to go down to the next question, and this is a checkbox question. So again, I asked the question, what grade do you primarily teach? And here I did use that help text. I expanded upon my question and said, if you teach more than one, select multiple, meaning it's not going to require you to only pick one. If you teach K through 5, you can click all 5. So what I did is I just tabbed down each time I put an answer. I did not choose other in this case. Obviously I could if I was concerned that maybe we'd have different people, but we'd like to keep it through K through 12 since that's who we're servicing. And this question here is a list. So if we want people to choose from a list, this question's asking, please select which category you believe you will want to get the most advice from. So what we're hoping for here is getting an answer. Which of these topics is likely going to be the most important to you if you come back to this site? We'll obviously focus a lot of attention on what we get back from our users. We are doing this for you. So this is an important one, and obviously we wanted to give as many options as possible, but this will start directing our work more towards what will help you as a user. Now I'm going to show you how to set up a grid. I think this is one of the most interesting tools on the Google form. So I want to step-by-step walk you through this. This question that I'm asking is, which of these topics would be of interest to you? Okay, and this is where you're going on the columns and the rows. So it gets a little confusing, and sometimes sketching it out first is the easiest way. Just remember that obviously the rows are going horizontally. So my row, I have a couple, these are the different topics that we're thinking we're going to cover, but we'd like to know whether or not you're going to be interested in them. So Symbaloo, Go Animate. Some of these, if you haven't heard of them, obviously you could say whether or not you're interested, or we do have an option that's going to show up on the top that says that you haven't heard of it yet. So we get a gauge too of, what are we using that we could teach you about that would be helpful and something new to introduce. Always a fun thing. Some of them you maybe already have some information on, but maybe want to get some of that challenge yourself further or additional links. So that we're going to make sure we cover as well. I'm just, like I said, putting in all kinds of random tools that we've talked about that we're wondering whether or not would be interesting to our users, and I came up with 10. And then what you're going to see along the top of this question when I show you the live form is those options along the top are the columns. So these are going vertical. You can choose that you have a high interest in learning more about them. You may have a somewhat interest level, so you're somewhat interested, a low interest. And then again, like I mentioned, you may have never heard of it, and that's just fine. Our job is to introduce some new things. The final, I guess I have two. Final number 5 is going to be prompting somebody to give us a little bit more feedback. So what I like about this is that you can choose text, which is a smaller box. So if you prompt a question, it's a small, like 1 or 2 word answer usually. So I'm going to choose paragraph text, and it just prompts people to write a little bit longer of an answer. So again, if you want to add any comments or give somebody room to write a question, it's just as a good option. And sometimes giving students or respondents a little bit room to write is good for those ones who are really motivated to give you some answers. What's nice too is we can make this required, but it's not one that I'd really like to require people to go do. Let me show you what happens. So I'm on this question, and let's say I want to go back and make sure people feel required to answer this one. It means they can't submit their response until they've done these required questions. Well, this is one that's going to say you're required to give 1 response per row. I don't want to commit people to that because I'm afraid that they're going to be intimidated by some of the things that you haven't heard of before. So instead, I'm going to make some of these other ones required. So I'm going to go click on these, the choose from a list, and I can make this one required. So it's nice that you don't have to require everything. If you're giving an optional response or, an opinion question versus a hard answer, I think that that's a really important part. So the first 3 I'm making required, the rest I'm going to make optional. And the last one, this is what it looks like here where you have a longer box and a paragraph size text, I'm going to show you what just a regular size text is and prompt people to leave their email address. Okay, and this is where you're going to choose just a regular text. A few more options I haven't covered today is this scale, which is just a rating. You can also have somebody submit something by a date. So if you ask, what is your birth date, or a significant date on a history quiz, or if you're requesting a meeting from somebody, there's a lot of different ways that you can plug date and time in as well. So what we want to do here, though, is make sure we're choosing text. I want to prompt people to, give their email address if they feel so inclined. And again, it's not a required question. I don't want people to have to write something if they don't want to. The last thing I want to show is this theme. So change the theme. And this is something new that Google has done in the last several months. You can actually customize a very basic theme. And what's nice about that is if you have a logo, a class picture, a special font that you like to use, or anything, if you're good with graphic design, this is really easy to use, but you can customize it. The really good news is for those of you who are just trying to throw something together quickly, you're not too concerned where it comes to personalizing it. There's still lots of great options. I'm just going to go ahead and select this homework one, and you will see when we go to our live exactly what this looks like. But you noticed over here some changes happened. The text changed a little bit. The questions are colorful now. And when we go to the live form, up here at the top, you're going to see exactly what it looks like. So when you click on our link on the bottom, this is what you're going to see. As the survey taker, you don't see the editing and all that kind of great stuff. Since some of them are required, remember the first 3 are required. It's going to prompt people to answer those 3. They can't submit it until they've done that. Here's what the checkbox looks like. So again, they can select multiple if they teach multiple classes. This is the list. And this is that grid that I talked about where you are highly interested, you're somewhat interested, you have low interest, or you haven't heard of this yet. This is where I wanted people to give us a feedback on what topics specifically, not a category, but what topic is interesting. Here's what the paragraph size looks like, and here's what the text size looks like. Once you submit it, the user, so when you submit the survey to us, we are actually going to get a response, and that comes in a spreadsheet form. I'm going to bring you back to this screen where we were looking at how to build it. And up here at the top it says View Responses. I'm not going to have any yet because this hasn't gone live at the time that I'm recording this, but if I click on View Responses, I am going to get a spreadsheet, okay, and it automatically just takes all the responses and dumps it into a spreadsheet for you. So I'm going to hit Create. And again, I'm going to bring you to this screen, and you'll see the timestamp. So I can see when people submitted it. I'll be able to see what school district primarily people are coming from, which grades they teach, and all those questions throughout here, okay? What's beautiful about this is this top line is frozen, and I can always go to scroll up and down. So if we got, 100 responses, we're still going to be able to see those prompts up at the top. We're also going to be able to data sort. So if we wanted to see just the people in Currituck County or just the people in Dare County, it gives us that option as well. So this is a really neat tool, and we'll make sure to include some links on this as well on how you can manipulate this data. And again, that's kind of your challenge yourself further. This was just more of a tutorial to try to get you to see how easy it is to build a Google form. And if you click on some of the links below, it will give you some options on how these Google Forms are being used in classrooms, used administratively. There's all different kinds of ways to use them. So again, please make sure you submit your responses to our survey so that we can better serve you.